Hey, hello, hello. How are you guys? How are you today? Let's let's give it let's give it a minute just for more people to join. Hey Tony, how you doing? Hey Robert, Ale, hey Luke, EA. What's your name, EA? Salman, how are you? Andy. Just waking up. Where are you located, Tony? Or this was the midday nap? Chicago. Yeah, well, this is midnight nap. Midday nap. Hey, Robert. Now I remember. Yeah. You already told me. Yeah, you already told me. Night shifts. Yeah. I, like 2 ages ago, there's something there's something you don't know about me, but I used to be a paramedic, EMT back in my days. In Mexico, and I used to work night shifts on the ambulance. Well, it was the rescue crew, but it was a nightmare. I mean, working night shifts on weekdays, it was a nightmare. Uh, there have been people sending me messages like, "Hey Neto, you should record a video of your background and everything." So probably I will this weekend, because this weekend is a special. Uh, Tomorrow is my birthday. I'm turning 42, so this weekend is gonna be special. I'm gonna spend quality time with my family. Um, I mean, I'll try to decompress and prepare for the next week, but mostly it's gonna be a celebration time. Thank you, Chen. So probably my daughter, my oldest daughter, she's turning 15 this summer, and she was telling me like, "Hey, Dad, I mean, you should be doing something for your friends, because I can see there's people that actually appreciate you." So thank you very much, guys, for all the warm messages that you sent, and for all the support. I'm doing this trade review entirely and completely out of gratitude for the community. When I started trading options, it was super hard to learn by myself, and there was a lot of communities and coaches and influencers all over the internet, explaining things, but like, setting walls on the last mile to understand everything, where everything click. And I've been trying to make it easier for all of this community that uh, we are sharing, because trading is, it's simple. I mean, it needs to be simple, because the most things that you add to your entry criteria, or how you manage your positions, it's going to be harder. So it's not going to be easy, but it could be very simple. So that's what I'm trying to do with you guys, on these sessions, explaining you the different setups and the entry criteria, how to manage your risk. So if you have any specific question or topic you would like me to go beyond what we always do, that would be awesome. And again, I'm full of gratitude to this community. So anything you need, I can try. So thank you for your early birthday wishes. Thank you very much to all. So, do you think still now break and retest is the best strategy? I mean, that there's no best or worst strategy on the market. But for me, for my style, for my risk tolerance, for my skill set, because I mean, I think I'm fast to execute my trades, but sometimes it's it's a hard thing to to react that fast. So for me, it's the best, it's the best strategy. That's the one that I've been using. I told you in the past, I used to be a breakout trader, and I used to have a lot of home runs, but also a lot of nightmares, right? Like 50% down trades and all that stuff. So for me, the break and retest has been a perfect match for my personality, for my style, and for my skill. So you need to find out if this is what is actually working better for you, and if it is, well, just deep dive. All right. Thank you, Canton. Uh, uh, uh. Neto, please show how you place that label on the key levels. All right. Yes, I'll do. Thank you, Deepti. Richard, what spreadsheet or software do you recommend using for a trading journal? Richard, if you are on the Discord with me, send me a message there. Tag me on any of the channels, and I will share uh, a spreadsheet that we use at least to follow up on the setup that we are doing on the trade review exercise. If you want a better journal, I mean, probably the trade cell. Trade cell is what I use, and it's super easy to use. Um, it's super easy to use. It has a lot of automatic stuff like the entry price, your trims, uh, a lot of things does it automatically. So if you want to invest a bit in your trading journey, I think Tradecella it's a very good investment. But if you don't want to invest yet on your journal, I can share a spreadsheet, right? Um, okay, Deepti, I'm in Katy. It's West Houston, so let's get in touch. All right. Okay, guys. So let's get started. All right. So Apple was absolutely awful. so so I actually don't see any opportunity in Apple today. Well, full disclosure, I changed the layout for today because we always are comparing like the key levels on SPY and QQQ, and I just realized probably it's gonna be easier if we have SPY and QQQ on the same side, and we just compare the ticker because look, if you can see, I mean, we can just drag the crosshair line, and it's gonna be easier. It's gonna be easier for us. So if you see or you think any improvement on the process of the reviews, please guys let me know. Again, this space it's hosted by me, but it's yours. So anything I can do to make it better for you guys, just let me know. All right. So sorry for taking so much time about talking about anything but charts. Okay, so let's get started with Apple. For being honest, Apple, I mean, it has been a mess since the earnings. It has earnings yesterday. Uh, it was kind of dropping, but then it recovered this morning. But right at the open, it dropped again. So let me show you. Let me show you this. So this huge candle here, that's the opening candle. It actually came almost to fill this gap. Let me show you this gap. Where is this coming from? Okay, so this gap, if you go to the daily chart, you will see this. All right, so this is the daily chart. Okay, so this gap was the gap between the daily candle from April the 22nd and the 23rd. So we created this gap, and we just came today. We filled half of this gap. Not sure if it's already dropped. No. So we filled half of this gap, on earnings. They have good earnings. It's just that they don't have like very good news because all of these tariff things. They said that they cannot be sure about how much of their budget is going to be on tariffs for the next quarter. So, I mean, investors are getting nervous. So we had this drop right at the open, then we had this consolidation, and we just, chill between this 5 minute opening range for hours, right? So for many hours. So in our criteria, 9:30 to 11 in the morning Eastern time, going from the internal liquidity to the external liquidity, looking for continuation. I don't see anything like pretty good here. Also, the IB was on the clouds, right? Because it was kind of expected a drop, so it kept dropping this morning. So the IB was just super high. I don't remember how much, but like 140 or something like that. So this is something that I usually recommend that you stay away. The after earnings, I don't like to trade right the next day on earnings, just because there's a lot of stuff going on the investment side, right? Like the huge corporations and all that stuff. So when I'm trying to make an earnings play, it's usually after 30 minutes or 1 hour, just when the IV cools off a little bit, and it, like, uh, the IV it's lower, and we can actually see some sort of direction, because usually the first 15 minutes after earnings, it's just noise. It's just, you should be waiting to settle a bit. So okay, all right. So not sure if you agree with me, but probably no one took an Apple trade today, just because. Look at this. I mean, price action was awful. Uh, After the drop, it consolidated a bit here around this gap, and then it tried to consolidate around the opening price, a little bit below the opening price, and on the pre-market low. So I did nothing, and I don't see anything on the pre-market low. So let's go to the next one, AMD. And what happened with AMD? The exact same thing. Can you see, guys? This is the 5 minute opening low, and this is the 5 minute opening high. And the first 2 hours and a half, we were inside of this range. So absolutely nothing for AMD. They were just chilling. I'm not sure when it's the earnings call for AMD. Oh, it's next Tuesday. Yeah, well, so it's next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, so probably it's gonna just consolidate on this area. So you will see. I mean, it's not gonna move too much. Uh, Also on the semis industry, I mean, they are still concerned about tariffs. They don't know if this is gonna impact their exports or their imports, or what's gonna be there on their sales. So you need to be very patient with the market now. I mean, you need to wait for the breaks and retest on key levels before taking any position. Don't try to guess anything. I mean, right now it's not the time to guess. So let's go to the next one. The next one was Amazon. This was my play in Amazon this morning. So we had this drop in the morning. As you can see, it was kind of different than the indices. However, this green line, it's the previous week high. So when we drop below this, I just was looking for some weakness here, and what we did have, on the indices. So on the indices, we were having this. So SPY was failing to even reclaim the 5 minute opening range, and it was actually kind of struggling with this opening price, right? So this is the kind of the the daily gap, the difference between yesterday close and today's open. So even when we gap up, I mean, it was struggling with this opening price. And it was kind of the same thing with QQQ. I mean, it never reclaimed the previous day high and or the 1 minute opening range. So in my opinion, this was looking a bit bearish. So this was 9:42. As I said, I tried to wait at least 10 minutes for looking at the direction on the indices. So when I see this reaction on the previous week high, and we were kind of rejecting this 5 minute opening range. I'm sorry, this 1 minute opening range. I opened my position here. I was ready for this. So this is something that I want to tell you. I was ready for this. I had my contracts ready. I had my finger right in the in the button. So this was looking very weak. Yes, Ali, it's kind of opposite to what I preach every day. But on the intraday, look, I mean, we had this drop on the pre-market, and I was looking more than the previous week high. I was looking for weakness on this 1 minute opening range. We had this break, good displacement and retest, and then we just drop. And what I'm explaining now, it's both indices were looking like they were failing to reclaim new highs or the top of the ranges. So I was looking at Amazon as a weakness on the 1 minute opening range. So I took this position here right below these two candles, and my target was low of the day. So low of the day, it was a little bit inside this gap, and I took like 50% of my position here, and then I took like 10 or 15% of my position on this candle, and I closed my position right around here. It was break even on the contracts, not on the not on the underlying. It was on the contracts. This was a small position because it was Friday. You know my rules for Friday. You only risk part of your profits, and if you don't have any profits for Friday, you skip the day. All right. But today I preferred a small win here. Again, I was looking for continuation to fill this gap. But what happened with the indices? The indices actually bounced, and they had their change of character right here, and this is where I cut my position. Again, it was break even on the contracts, not the underlying, but right here, I mean, I started to hesitate about staying on this position just because the indices were changing of character. As you can see, QQQ was actually breaking the 1 minute opening range and retesting, and SPY was looking weaker. But I mean, I mean, it's Friday, so I don't want to risk too much here. And that was the only opportunity that I saw on Amazon. If you see here, I mean, probably if you wanted to take any other of these retests, they actually look pretty similar to my first entry. The thing is that none of this had a good context, just because the indices they were pushing up, right? They were pushing up. So none of these entries or none of these retests on the same level that I entered had the same context, because on the first entry, indices were looking weaker, but here they were pushing up. They were pushing up. So the context is different. That's why I mean, I wouldn't take any trade right here. All right. So let me go again to the chat. Uh, I took the same Tesla trade. I'm gonna show you, but it's you're gonna love because I think we actually took on the same candle. Um, the daily gap makes this thesis very strong. Yeah, you know, sometimes, guys, the daily gap is not like a key level that everyone is drawing all the time. That's why I love this tool. This tool does all the work for you. I mean, as you can see, this is my actual chart, right? So this is my actual chart. It has a few lines, but all of them are key levels, right? Like key levels on the 15-minute chart or on the daily chart. But this tool draws the 5 minute and the 1 minute opening range, the previous day high, previous day low, and the pre-market high and pre-market low. So that's all that I need for my intraday price action reading. And well, and also this the daily gap. Then the daily gap is the difference between yesterday's close and today's open. So for me, yes, this is adding a lot of context for me. So if you want to know about this tool, it's this one with Mina Trades X. He's on the Discord, so look for him and ask for an invitation for these tools. They are super cheap and they were developed with the break and retest strategy in mind, right? So well, that was Amazon. Anyone took Amazon trade here? Uh, from the daily chart. Sorry, yeah, this one. Well, this was AMD. This is Amazon. Yeah. So if you go to the daily chart here, can you see, guys? This is the the gap between the last day of April and the 1st of May, high and low, right? All right. So okay, yeah, no one took Amazon. Yeah, this was kind of aggressive. Let's go to the next one, Nvidia. All right. So Nvidia again. This is the daily gap, right? This is the opening price. So we had some sort of pump the very opening, uh, but we didn't have good reactions on any of the key levels. At least we're having some continuation, right? This is the pre-market high. This pre-market high. It's a 114.50. However, we never touch it, right? We never touch it. So I wasn't sure about this. And the thing is that also both indices were breaking out to the downside. So breaking out to the downside. So no actual retest on this key level. So I wasn't trusting this key level. And then well, we tried again this previous day high 114.94. Let me do this. Yeah, 114.94. Okay, so we try to reclaim this, but we fail, right? We fail, so we drop. And again, I mean, we have this break, displacement, and retest of the opening price or the daily gap. Again, this is not a trade I will take. This is not on my playbook because look, the indices, SPY was the middle of nothing, in the middle of the range of the 5 minute opening range. But also, I mean, if you are like very technical here, it's actually rejecting the opening price, just as Nvidia is doing here, right? So, and what was happening with QQQ? Well, it was rejecting the 5 minute opening range. So again, just as Ale said a few minutes ago, I mean, we are not trying to use the rejection from the top or the bottom of the ranges. However, if you can see that the indices are pushing up and this name is staying heavy, so this is relative weakness, right? So again, I like to take trades on the same direction than the indices, but if you can spot this relative weakness against the indices, well, this is a nice break and retest of the opening price. And can you see this hard rejection here? If you open your position on the next candle and you were aiming to the low of the day, well, the risk was the top of these candles, right? The top of these candles, and your target was low of the day. This actually was a 1 to 2.4 risk reward ratio trade. Uh, Not bad, not bad. 1 to 2.5, maybe. Yeah, the thing is that this was a zero DTE, or I mean, at least I will do it zero DTE trade. So probably this pullback is taking you like 10-15% red. If you didn't take anything here, I mean, not sure if you managed to stay in here. But well, can you see here? I mean, we were having this is the relative weakness I was talking about. Even when the both indices were pushing up above the 5-minute opening range, look at this. I mean, this is staying heavy, and on the pullback of the indices, it goes again all the way down to low of the day. So this was kind of the only opportunity that I saw on Nvidia. This retest of the same key level, it's again, I mean, it's not clear on the indices what they wanted to do. They were on top of the range. They were on top of the range. So this didn't look this weak. So I wouldn't say that this was a good opportunity on context. Okay. Okay. So hi Neto, for Nvidia, after the huge volume spike at 12, I entered long and 12 on the break and retest of previous day high, targeting high of the day. Okay. 12. 12. All right. Let me see what the indices were doing. 12. Okay. I see you here. Well, let me tell you something, Andy. Maybe if you told me like, hey Neto, you know what? I took let's say this one, right? This is the previous high of the day. This is the previous high of the day, or maybe something like this. If you told me, hey Neto, I took this rejection or this bounce on this order block, previous high of the day, on the 12-11 candle, right above this candle, maybe I will say, well, this was a good one, just because look at the indices. You don't want to buy at high of the day, just as you did on the 12-12 candle, right? You want to buy, I mean, you want to have some sort of room here, because if let's say that you bought here on the previous candle, you had your risk right here, and if you were looking high of the day, it was a 1 to 2.25 risk reward ratio trade. But if you bought here on the 12-12, your stop loss needs to be all the way down to here, and your target should need to be all the way to 115.73. And it was two things. It was late on the day. You already hit previous day high. That was kind of the main objective for the day. So I just think this had less probability and a huge risk here. So again, if you say, hey Neto, I took this impulsive candle right above this previous retest of this order block of this previous local high. All right, well, I have you here. Maybe you were trying something like this. It's not a 1 to 2 reward ratio trade unless you do something like here. I mean, unless you enter right above this previous candle. So I don't know, Andy. I mean, again, it's out of my trading window. I usually trade from 9:30 to 11 Eastern time. Uh, but that was the other thing, right? I mean, you already swiped this previous day high liquidity, and this 115.10, it's a key level of the daily chart. So I don't know if this was a good probability trade. However, as I said, I mean, if you enter right here and you were trying to get just this this local high, I mean, it was a 1 to 2 reward ratio trade, but it was just a scalp. All right. Neto, would you hold the position on Nvidia in this case in context with the indices? Uh, Probably yes, because they were consolidating. Can you see SPY consolidating around 567.42? That's a key level on the daily chart. However, QQQ was, I mean, it was around 490. Not sure if 490 it's a good key level on QQQ. 490. Let's say 4 hour. 490. Yeah, like 490 was, it's not so clear good level here on the on QQQ. So I don't know. I'm not sure. 490. 490. Yeah, no. I mean maybe, but it's not very clear, right? It's not very clear here. So I wouldn't say that I will hold my position here, but for sure, once it looked weaker than the indices, like here, I mean, it started dropping despite the indices were holding that key level, that 567. So right here, I mean, I will close my position here, or not even here, probably on this consolidation, just because the well, no, yeah, maybe here on this one, this 1244, just because the indices were holding and this was dropping. So I mean, once you lost momentum and relative strength and weakness and relative strength with the indices, I would cut my position here. That's actually what I did on the Amazon trade. Okay, so let me for previous position here. Mm-mm. For the put position, for I mean for the first one on the pullback. Yes, okay. So here, oh here on this one, yeah. Well, mm, yeah. Oh, okay. You're right. Now I understand. Yeah. So if you were looking for context here, I mean, you should cut your position just because this pullback it's actually at the same time than the breakout on the indices. Yeah, now I get you. Yeah, so I will cut this position here because if it was same day expiration, now that you are on your entry level, probably you are like 15 or 20% down on that portion of your trade. All right. So let's go to Tesla. That was my other trade here. Not sure if this is the same than Ale took. I think you shared something on the Discord, right, Ale? Uh, Probably this is the same. This is the same one than mine. So okay. So let me tell you what I did here. All right. So here I was looking at Tesla. It was looking weak. We broke the 5 minute opening range. We had this displacement. And when we retested here, I added this circle for your reference. When we retested here, I want to show you what was happening on the indices. So On SPY, it was rejecting the opening price. Can you see on right on my entry candle? It was actually rejecting the opening price. And QQQ, it was rejecting the top of the 5-minute opening range. So it was more important for me that SPY was rejecting the opening price. So I was looking at this as weakness on Tesla. So I took my position here right on this candle, 1004 candle, when it went below this retesting candle. So my first target when I actually sold like 50% of my position was right here on this pre-market low, and it was a 1 to 3.4 1 to 3.2 risk reward ratio trade. And then I sold like 10% more here, and that was my mistake. And I'm gonna tell you something that I hated today. So I sold like by this point, I already sold like 60% of my position. 60% of my position. All right. And but here, both indices were already on the top of the range. Both indices were on the top of the range, and I was looking at Tesla. It looked so weak, making lower lows, and I say, well, I'm gonna hold it. So the 40%, the 40% that I was holding here, I got it like here on this consolidation because I saw it was forming a flag, and this 40% made my trade red. I know it was an execution mistake, but I want to be super transparent with you. So this was a small loss for me, and I know it's amazing because I had like 60%. I had like 60% of my trade on my actual targets, and I let 40% of my position. I mean, instead of cutting like maybe here on this candle, because here it was kind of like shifting momentum and shifting the change of character. So probably I should cut here. This was a green trade for me here, but I decided to wait if it was rejecting this 5-minute opening range, and it actually went down a bit, and I said, well, I'm still green, let me hold this position, and I actually ended cutting here, and these 40% of my trade made the 60% that I sold on this area a red a red a red trade. So I'm just not proud of this execution. I could actually manage it way better just because it was a Friday, and give me one second. Give me one second. Just because it was a Friday, and I wouldn't be risking too much, but I already had the Amazon profit, or the Amazon winning trade, and well, it just, I don't know. I was overconfident with this, or not overconfident, but I was hoping too much on this, and this is actually a mistake, right? Because yes, it looked weak at the very beginning of the day, but then it shifted the momentum, and also indices were actually uptrending now. Indices were uptrending now. So I just wanted to explain you my mistake on my execution, to show you how even when you have even when you hit your targets, if you don't manage your trade well, it could turn red very easily, especially on Fridays. All right, and well, what happened later in the day for Tesla? So Tesla had a few good opportunities later in the day. I want to show you this. What's going on with this? How I did it this? Give me one second, guys. I don't know how. Okay, no. I'm sorry, but I'm struggling here. What's going on with Spy? For some reason, I don't know what I did. All right. Okay. Okay. Now it's ready. I don't know what I did. Sorry about that. Okay. So what happened with Tesla later in the day? So we had this break, displacement, and retest of the pre-market high. And what was happening with the indices? Well, they were still pushing up. And I want to show you this. Uh, this was holding this order block for the day, or maybe this one. I think this one is a bit better. So this was kind of the first order block of the day. Uh, but I mean, you can move. I mean, you should be looking which of the your order blocks are the ones that are holding, right? So let's use this one. Okay. So here, once we broke, had this placement and retest this pre-market high on Tesla. So what our indices were doing? Okay. So they were actually rejecting or bouncing out of our order blocks. Okay. So if you try to enter here, and this is going to be tricky, and look, you are recording these trades. This is not going to work because you have your risk maybe here. I mean, it should be on the bottom of this wick, but let's say that you have a bigger risk at the bottom of this candle that was the one that actually broke. So, and you were looking for high of the day, or let's say, well, this actually worked. This actually worked, but I wouldn't say that this actually worked, because I will say that if you had this entry here, and Carla, tell me where did you enter? Where did you enter, Carla? Because if you were looking for this pre-market high, this was a nice place. However, this is this rejection or this bounce of the opening price, it's actually looking better. As you can see, it's the bounce of the 5 minute opening range on QQQ, and well, it's doing nothing on it's doing nothing on SPY. Again, if you are just playing around with your order blocks, well, this is actually a better order block. Can you see all of the touches here? Here, this is not, but here. So if you were waiting for this area, this was an actual better context, right? So can you see the bounce from the 5 minute opening range on QQQ and the bounce from the order block on SPY? So maybe if you had something like this, you had your risk right below these previous candles, and you were looking for, well, if you were looking just for this local high, it was a 1 to 2.7 risk reward ratio trade. However, if you were looking for high of the day, it was a 1 to 3.5. So this was a nice trade out of this bounce from the opening price or the daily gap. Uh, okay, so high Neto, do you consider retest 1003? 1003? 1003? Yes. Neto, do you think about long position 1130? 1130? Well, it's this one that we are saying, right? Um, SPY was okay. SPY was rejecting opening price. SPY was also rejecting the yes. Well, is it the opening price here? What's going on with this? I'm sorry, guys. Not sure what happened with this chart. Let's. All right. Now we are talking. All right. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Okay. So, okay. So, yeah. So here, yeah, you're right. So here, again, we were bouncing on Tesla on the opening price, and it was the same case on SPY, and it was the retest of the 5 minute opening range and also the pre-market high on QQQ. So this was a nice context for entering into a position here. Yeah. All right. Okay. So that was for Tesla, and someone was looking for Palantir. Let's see what happened with Palantir. So, all right. Okay. So we gap up. We gap up, and we had this 5 minute. This is the 1 minute opening range, but this is also previous day high. So if this is just too early for me, this is too early for me. But look at this. So here you are breaking displacement and retest the 5 minute opening range. The thing is that on the indices we were super low on the ranges, right? We were super low on the ranges. However, this is actually a very nice place. I mean, can you see we were above the previous day high, so that's very bullish in my opinion, right? So we were looking for continuation here. So here maybe let's say that here you open your position, you had this as your risk, and you were looking for 122.50. That's a kill. Well, that's the strike round number, side number. However, you have this 123, and this is a 1 to 3 risk reward ratio trades, right? So yeah, Palantir was nice. Also, it had a second chance here. Can you see this is the order block of the first high of the day, right? So, and here you have more context, right? Here you have more context. So here, what was happening here? So here you were bouncing from the 5 minute opening range on SPY. So here was another good opportunity to take. And if you were looking for something like this, your risk was at the very bottom of this order block, and you were looking for the previous high. This was a 1 to 2.4 risk reward ratio trade. Yeah, so Palantir offered different opportunities here, right? But the most important here is that on the very first candle, it went above the previous day high. So that was super bullish for Palantir. So even if you took your position like here on the reclaim of the previous day high, something like this, and you were having your risk here, and you were aiming to 122, that was a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio trade. But I mean, it went way above that. So that was a nice one for Palantir. Who took a Palantir? I'm not sure. Deuce was watching a Palantir, but I remember someone told me about they took Palantir today. No? Okay. All right. Okay. Well, that was the last one for me today. Thank you very much for joining, guys. If if you are on the Discord, I want to I want to give you a surprise. So uh, this month I'm turning 1 year on the community, and one way to give back to the community, and this is not for everyone, but you will understand. I will be providing a session in Spanish. So uh, todos mis amigos latinos, all my Latin friends, we will hold a session at the end of May in Spanish. So the reason of this session is trying to answer all of your questions. If you are shy asking on the community or asking on the live trading, well, this is going to be your chance. So make sure that you write down all of your questions. And this session is going to be held on Spanish. So don't be shy. Come here. If you guys don't speak Spanish, I mean, you are always welcome, but the session is going to be in Spanish. So I hope to see you there. So all of my Latin friends, I'm gonna announce that session over the weekend, so you can prepare and you mark it on your calendars. And well, that's gonna be all, my friends. I hope you have a very good weekend. And well, remember, you need to disconnect a bit from the charts, but you need to prepare for the next week. So make sure that you have some rest, and make sure that you also prepare for the next week. Bring your journals. Please journal all of your trades. Please journal all of your reactions and your emotions. I have a lot of to journal about my today's execution. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. So thank you very much, guys. No, yeah, Chen. Nothing is changing. We are just adding a one-time only session in Spanish for all the Latin or Spanish-speaking friends. Yeah, nothing is changing anywhere. It's just gonna be an additional session. All right. So thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye.